evening, everyone. Welcome back to Sidharthworld, your own channel. In this channel, we do a lot of tech reviews, blog stories, and motivational talk. So, if you're new to the channel, please do watch our other content channel. And in today's blog or in today's podcast or in today's stream, we are going to show you about how to install Ubuntu inside VirtualBox. Now, for example, what is VirtualBox? You have to understand VirtualBox is basically a virtualization software which helps you run multiple operating system in the host machine, which means right now I am using a Windows laptop, and within that laptop I am installing VirtualBox, which is an application by Oracle, and inside that I'm creating another operating system. So for example, Linux, maybe it is Debian, Fedora server, Ubuntu server, Linux, any operating system, even Windows operating system, I can still run inside that when I don't want to disturb, or when I want to try some new features of a particular application. I can install that application inside that VirtualBox, or I can put a operating system inside that. I can install that application and I can test, so that I am not disturbing the settings of my host operating system, which in this case is Windows. The same thing now you can do in Windows, you can do it in Mac. You can also use VirtualBox or KVM in Ubuntu or in any Linux distro. Everything is available. So all it requires is understanding what is the system that you have and what is the architecture that you have and how you can take it further. So in this context, we are going to see Ubuntu server. Now, why Ubuntu server and not Ubuntu desktop? The very simple fact is Ubuntu server comes in a command line. So first thing you will be getting scared. Oh God, command line. We don't have any screen. No, Ubuntu desktop comes with a preset loaded of applications which sometimes you don't need. Sometimes you need. If you need, you can install that application. If you don't need, you cannot. But if you install Ubuntu desktop, what happens is it comes preloaded with so many applications, half of them which you will not be using, and you will load up your system. Rather than that, what we are going to do is we are going to install Ubuntu desktop server in command line. Once the installation is successful, we are going to log in into the server, and we are going to see after we successfully install, the next part we are going to see is to install Ubuntu desktop skin, or basically either Ubuntu desktop or XFCE, anything, any lighter one or any multiple one we can use. Either it can be Ubuntu, either it can be XFCE, anything it can be, but that's a separate part. That's going to take you whole through a journey of exercises. So without making any delay, let's get started and let's see how what are the things that we need. So in order for us to install this, we need a complete pre-check of information. First thing, we need to check the system memory and available storage space, which means we need to check how much RAM we have in our laptop and how much storage space we have that we want to allocate to this virtual machine. And remember, the storage space is not static but dynamic. It's not fixed, but it is dynamically allocated, which means you allot only 50 GB, but if it requires more space and if it is available, it will take that more space also. It's not that you only define 50 GB, then it will only restrict to 50 GB. No, it will extend as and when it required, because it's a dynamically allocated, which means dynamically when this, as long as the space is available, it will take. Okay, now that is the one thing. RAM, because it is important, because not everybody will have RAM. Like for example, my laptop has got 24 GB of RAM, so I can, because Ubuntu desktop requires at least a minimum of 8 GB RAM, whereas Ubuntu server needs at about 512 megabytes of RAM. So you can clearly see the difference. Where 8 GB and where, even if I consider to be giving 1 GB or 2 GB, it's still about saving 6 GB of RAM, which is way more because your desktop comes with preset of informations and loaded applications, which is not required in this case. So we are going to explore different skins, but for today we are just going to focus on installing, and then we're going to focus on something called static, or making the IP address static so that when we try to enable the remote connection, it won't have any difficulty. Second thing, you need to download all the required softwares. Required softwares in this case is Ubuntu server, live server image from Canonical website. Which you can do is go to any of your favorite browser and click Ubuntu server, and the first link you will be getting is ubuntu.com, which is the official website of Canonical. Go there, and here you have three options: multipass, manual installation, and automated server provisioning. We are going for manual installation. In manual installation, you will always find two versions: Ubuntu 2004 LTS, and you will have. Now, what's the difference between these? Now, an LTS stands for long term support, which basically comes for 5 years of extension. So if you see, it says OS security guaranteed until April 2025, extended security maintenance up to until up to April 2030. So which means you have still got a plenty of years. And if you go by the recent one, which will be like 9 months of support and security and maintenance, and then probably you will not get anything. So always when you are downloading something, always see that whether in the case of Ubuntu, you will find this condition Ubuntu, then you have Pop OS and all. You'll find LTS. Always take go for long term support because you can get support, you can get the help of the community, and you can build that. So just download it, just click it, it will start, it will ask you to start doing that, and it will show you to download. Probably it will ask you to download, just save it. I am not going to do that because I have already downloaded, and it depends upon your internet connectivity, how fast your internet connection is, and it takes as per that. For me, for my internet connection, based on the speed that I have, it takes about roughly about 1 to 2 minutes max if the traffic are huge and all. Otherwise, it's the pretty fast. It's about 1 minute and all. And there is a cheat sheet also, which you can download, which I will link it in the video when I post it, so that you can go that here. All the commands are there. Basically, all the commands should interact with the server. But we're trying to change that to GUI, but at times you might have to, some of you might to interact with the command line. So this cheat sheet will be helpful for them. You can download that. You just have to click on the one, you just have to fill that one, and then just click that, and you will have that. I will take you through the flow of the commands that you can use day to day. Otherwise, that's not a very big deal. And yes, you have to get VirtualBox, Oracle. That's it. The two application. That's it. You have to check whether VirtualBox is installed or not. If it is not installed, please do install. And once you install VirtualBox, this is how VirtualBox looks like. First of all, go and check for up. Is there any update? So it says no, you are running the most recent version. Okay, fine. Now you know that it is ready, it is clear. You can go to VirtualBox Preference. You can click on this. You can check where you are storing. So this particular path you can restore. It by default stores in Windows machine. It stores on C drive. You can give that. So basically D program and VM, this is the folder where whatever the VMs you create, if you don't mention the path where you want to create, it will go for the default path. Then you have got input methods, you have got all virtual machine shortcuts, how to do that. Like for example, if you want to power soft, then you have to hit Windows and control and H key, and then it goes for S1 auto adjusted whole control A, all the control C, all that you can do. Updates you can check like every 1 day or every 1 week. You can set language, you can set display, what is the size, you can set the size of the display. Network connectivity, extension, yes. Virtual Oracle VirtualBox extension pack is very important because this extension pack is going to give you the benefit of managing multiple options. Extension pack is helping you with all extra features that is come Proxy, you don't need to do anything. That's all for now. Then you have to go back and you have to check like, okay, everything is fine. All settings are adjusted. So until point number 3, your checklist is clear. Now you have your image also, you have your VirtualBox installed, you have configured your VirtualBox successfully. Now it's time for creating the right uh, set of information. What information, what specification you want to give. So in that context, I'm going to share your screen. I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to show you how things can be done and how things can be motivated, how things can be modified, how things can take a place in the settings. So without making any delay, let's see how we can create that. So how we can create that. The first and foremost thing that we have to do is like click on new. Either you can click here or you can use Control plus and the shortcut key, or you can go to machine and you can click new. Now, what's the difference between new and add? Let's say you have already somebody has configured a VM and has given you a clone copy. You can just click on add and you can import the virtual machine. You can select the virtual machine and you can import. But new is basically where you are creating the virtual machine. So here I will give any name. You can give any name. I'm giving you Ubuntu server. Then it is by default taking the same path. If you want, you can change here. I'm not going to change. Now we are going. So if you see I'm moving this, you can always use the tab key to move. And if you want to change between these options, you can use your arrow key left and right. Next, now it says 1024, which is about 1 GB RAM it takes. So we will slightly increase that to 2 GB. So we will make it 2 GB. So here we go. Now we say create a virtual hard disk. Now we are creating a virtual hard disk where the recommendation size is 10 GB. We are just going to give a virtual disk image we are going to use. So and dynamically allocated. So if you see a dynamically allocated hard disk files only use space on your physical hard disk as it fills up to a maximum fixed size. Although it will not shrink again automatically when space on it is freed. You have to free the space at times, but in a fixed size, the disk will no longer change the size of the disk. That is one more critical factor. So now 10 GB is the space. So let's for this installation, let's keep it 10 GB. So now your VM is your informations are filled. Now what we have to do a couple of settings. If you have seen this, after we create the VM, then we have to open the settings and we have to do couple of settings adjustment. So for that, we are going to do this. It's like we are in the general tab, advanced, where we are going to store the snapshot. A snapshot is basically when you take the backup or when you take the first initial backup of the installation, because if something goes wrong, you can always go back. That also I will show you. So description, disk type, if you want to encrypt, you can do the encryption and all. This is system which tells about motherboard, what is that memory that you have given, 2 GB memory you have given. Never cross this green line. You should always be within the green line, because the moment you go to the red, it something will become unstable because you cannot. So you have only this green belt you can use until this. Beyond that, you cannot go. So boot order, we will remove floppy, optical disk, this and network we will keep. All this will remain same. Processor will remain one core processor at this point will give. Execution cap again 100% it is there. We will not touch anything. Accelerator we don't touch. Display video memory 16 MB is there. Video memory you can increase. Remote desktop. Yes, remote desktop is something that I will tell you once the installation is successful in the next subsequent part. Recording. Yes, you want to enable recording. You can record and you can keep it so that what you are doing and how you are doing it will save a video copy of that and it will record it. We are interested about storage. We will go now. If you see controller ID, now controller ID is something where you have to give the live image. So we will go and we will choose the live image. In our case, we are going to choose Ubuntu. So here is Ubuntu server, and for this between Ubuntu 21.10 and 20.4, there is not much difference. Where here the support time is less, there the support time is more. Like the long-term support, 5 year support, here it is only 9 months. But for this purpose, I am taking Ubuntu 21.10. So now it is there 1.18 GB. Now audio, well, you can do that or you can leave the settings as it is. Yes, network is very important. See, now network means it is only attached to the real network of the host OS, which means the host OS, as long as got internet, it will be bridge network. Generally, what we do in bridge network is basically going to show the host attached to it, and bridge network is going to give you the benefit of hosting and getting the traffic from outside using the network, which means you can, if your server is on and you have allowed the bridge network and the remote connection is on, you can log in from anywhere as long as your system is up and running on the network. So we are going to do that much. And now, as I showed you in the instruction, once everything is done, once you have verified everything, you click on start and begin the installation. So let's go full frame and begin the installation. So we go start and it will take a little bit time, and boom, it will start up the installation, and we will be having our server in no time. So here begins the installation. So don't worry, don't be panic. Everything is possible in command prompt. So it is like Ubuntu server. Okay, we are going to, so it is running up. So do not worry because it's all very simple, very common. It's doing some adjustment in setting all that it will manage manually, and then we'll have the prompt to start beginning. It's very simple, like how you do in GUI. It's the same thing. You just have to hit enter and space, and you have to do. So just let's wait for 2-3 minutes, and we'll begin up the. So far you would have seen that how easy it is to do in order to make it matchable and understandable. So that's the fine point of these things. So like it runs, because generally, desktop operating system and the server operating system is quite different, because the desktop operating system is built for certain specific tasks. A server operating system is built for always for a longer purpose, for long hours of work and other things. So right now we have been given up with the screen for selecting language. You can select English, English UK, any other language. You can see on the top it is written up, down, and enter key to select. Now, if I'm okay with English, I will hit enter. Then it says version 22.02.2 of the installer is now available. 21.10.3 is currently running. You can read the release notes for each version at this GitHub link. If you choose to update, the update will be downloaded and the installation will continue from here. If not, continue without installing. If you want to update it to 22.2 and then you want to run, you can run. If you want to run 21.10, you can do that. In our case, we will do continue to the new installer. So let's do that. So the new installer is getting downloaded, and boom, once it is done, it will give us the screen back again to do the installation part again, and we will be doing. Now we are going to begin with 22.2 installation screen. Okay, so we are now, if you go back now, hit enter. Now it does not show that you're running with a different version and all, because the installer itself is updated. And just keyboard layout is US English, variant is US English. We are okay with it. So hit enter. Now Ubuntu, choose the base of the installation. Ubuntu server minimized. The default installation contains a curated set of packages that provide a comfortable experience for operating your server. This version has been customized to have a small runtime footprint in the environment. Humans are not expected to log in. So we are going to go by the default. If you want to understand how to do the change in the selection, just use the arrow key and then just select this one and press the space key. It will change. If you want to select this again, take the cursor and space key. And if you want to come down, use the down arrow key, come down, enter, and see. Now this is the DHCP, which means Dynamic Host Control Protocol. So dynamically this IP address has been given. Now, going further, this IP address we will use for making it a foolproof, which means we are going to use this IP address to make it as a static IP, which means even if we shut down our server and restart again, we will still have the same IP address. In DHCP, what happens if we shut down the server and we restart, it will have a different IP address, and whereby our our network connection will break down, which means remotely we cannot be able to connect, because every time the IP address will change, we'll have to set up every time a remote desktop connection. So that is how it will be. So now we will, and that is ENPOS3. There is a small setting that I will tell you. Now let's go with proxy. We don't want to give anything. Next, mirror. Here from this archive, we are going to get our images, and then we have 10 GB. We are not going to do any partition. We are going to just install it. So we are going this, but we don't want to use it as a LVM or logical volume manager. We'll uncheck it and we will just install. It says you will have 9.997 GB, which is like bootloader takes 1 MB and the remaining is all space. We are happy. We are done. Selecting continue below will begin the installation and result in the loss of data on the disk, which because there is no data in the disk, so we are clear to go. Now we will give us some name. So let's say I give my name and I put the home server, demo server, and this is also my name. Password, the one that you set, which you feel you want to set, then hit enter. Do you want to install OpenSSH server? You have the option to select here, which means it will install the OpenSSH server. If else, you will have to do in the command terminal window, like sudo apt install OpenSSH fn server. But we will select here. Let's do that. We are not importing any SSH key. Now, in these are the pre-built snap. In Ubuntu, everything is like a snap and a package, which everything is there. You have microKTs, Nextcloud, Beacon, Docker, everything. So if you want to just run your own private cloud and web server, you can use Nextcloud. You can install microKT to run the containers. You can install Docker to run Docker runtime, or you can use anything. So we are not doing anything. We are just interested in installing. So with that, the installation has begun. We'll have to wait for some time, and once that is done, we will have our full-fledged operating system ready, and we will be going into process of setting up and checking our IP address and kind of doing something and restarting and rebooting and all that we will do. So stay tuned and wait for some moment. Once that is done, I'll get back to you. Once the installation is completed, I'll get back to you, and then we will log. I would urge you to please go to Sidharthworld YouTube channel and do like the channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss an update from us. And yes, please do follow Siddharth KP official on the Instagram to get all the posts, all the stories. We are having a Facebook page also. The website is also coming up live. So you will always find these informations, and make sure you like us, you subscribe us, and you check our coverage. We would like to put more such streams and on live. This is one such that I tried to record to see how it goes and all, how more efficiently that we can do. but the subsequent parts will be live on the channel directly. It will be going streaming at the end of the stream. You will have the recording which will be available, so you will get the recording also. So that recording will be uploaded onto the YouTube. So you will have the content what you have seen in live. You will not miss any step because all steps will be clearly edited and will be uploaded. So be sure to check out and be sure to like us, and we will be very much happy to see how it works. Now let's move on to see what's going on in our installation phase. So okay, we are making a progress. We are installing the Linux kernel. So we had configured the apt package manager. So what so far we have done? We have configured the storage, we have done the blocks partition, we have mounted the partition, we have extracted the packages, we have extracted the image, we have configured, we have mounted the CD-ROM, we have configured the app package manager. We have installed the missing packages. We have configured the iSCSI services. We have configured the RAID services. Now we are installing the Linux kernel. Once the kernel is installed, we are going to get into the final steps. And once the installation is done, we are going to reboot the server. And once the reboot is done, it will run through some the grayscale commands and all, which is like a course scary kind of thing to everybody, but that is not. And then we'll be prompted to log in. And once we log in, we will be welcome to our server, and then we will check out a couple of info. So until then, until that thing comes back, please go right now, and you do go right now and click on these two links. Subscribe the channel on YouTube, and give your likes, love, and affection to the videos because that gives us help and motivation, and also helps YouTube to promote our videos for more people to reach. I know there are hundreds of videos of how to install Linux in VirtualBox and other things, but my way of doing is very simple. They tell that, and half of the information they do it very fast. You don't catch it because it's a 5 minutes, 10 minutes retention, and they do a calculation. Which is my point is go long, but go accurately with every step. Go long, speak up, do everything. Let everybody know how to create that rather being just telling that and people are just doing. I believe in something that people can always take and people can understand in their own terms and conditions. So please do go check out and do let me know how did you like the video. So far the progress I can show you, which is very simple. The progress we have done is we have installed the kernel, we have set up the swap memory. Swap memory is basically when you have multiple applications open in your system. Uh, Swap memory is basically when you have multiple applications available in your system and you have opened multiple applications but your RAM is getting filled up. The swap memory is basically a part of the hard disk which will be like is a part of the storage memory which will take that thing. Okay, fine. Till you process the application, I'll hold back the application. So you eventually free up the RAM, and it is always said that 2 times of your RAM you should be always allocating. So for example, if you're allocating 8 GB of RAM, is somewhere around 20% of that you should give it to swap memory so that your system runs smooth. So you when you have multiple applications, multiple things you're working on, your system will not clog up and your system will not crash. Now it's going to be very soon. It is going to end our system, and with that we will be like rebooting our server, and yes, we will have the Ubuntu up and running. We will just do open up and we will just log into the server and we will just check the server, but we will not be going further steps because the further steps will be on a different part of this. So this will be a long series of things. In this series you just saw about how you can do that. This video will go live. The next video will be live and recorded. So the moment after the live stream finish, you will get the recording copy. That will be recorded on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. So make sure you watch that because that is going to be available everywhere. Even this video, I will try to put that into Facebook and Twitch, maybe like, but I will be like multiple platforms will be streaming simultaneously, and then you will have that available on YouTube, and that will be available to the links to download on the Instagram handle that you have already seen. So if you haven't gone and followed, please go and follow this Instagram handle and you will get the info. All right. As you can see, we are getting some commands installed, but we have two options. Either we can see the full log or we can just cancel, update and reboot. But we are waiting for a little more time to install update because it's easier now at the time of installation, because post installation again you will have to run a lot of things which will take eventually a lot more time and lot more effort. So it's always better to run now than later. Well, so this is the moment of truth that we have logged in and we have gone through. We have created the server. We have logged into the server, and the first two things that we have done is we have run the update. So there were 17 updates available. So we are telling them to upgrade it to all the 17 upgrades. So that's why the progress is going on. The progress is stuck at 97 because there is some package which is getting generated and all. So once that is done, we are going to end the stream here, which is where we will have the latest one. In our next series, in the next part, we are going to set up the static IP address, the same IP address that we have only 192.168.0.106, which has been assigned by our router. We are going to use the same IP address and we are going to set it on Google's public DNS domain name server, which is 888888 and 88884444. And we are going to set that much, and then we are going to install the desktop GUI so that you can interact with your server. And then in the subsequent and in the same part, I will tell you when you don't need, how you can switch off, how you can stop the GUI and you can get back to your command line interface. And if you want, without going inside the VirtualBox also, if you're running in a headless mode, you can use putty and the terminal, or you can use a command prompt to do SSH if it is OpenSSH is enabled, because it is OpenSSH server is enabled. You can do SSH either in the same IP address. We will try to do that. If that can be logged in, then it is well and good. So well, because we have OpenSSH enabled, now it is working. So if you see, I have just given SSH Siddharth at the rate 192.168.0.106. So it is asking the authentication host key can't be established. Should do you verify this fingerprint key? I say yes, and then I put that. It asks me my password. I give my password, and yes, we are in our server. So without installing putty, you can still interact with the server when your server is doing updates and all. I can still, this is where here my server is updating, and here through command prompt, because I have SSH, I can log into the server, I can perform anything. You can see that, and we can see our IP address is here. If you see our IP address is here, ENP0S3 192.168.0.106, but this is dynamic scope global dynamic EN post. We have to make it static. To do that static, we have to make a change, but right now I'm not doing anything. So we have done it. Okay, we have done it. We are logged in through command prompt. You can see the command prompt screen available. From Windows command prompt, you are inside the Linux server. So now you can do a clear screen, you can do ls, or you can do pwd. You can see you are in the home directory. So ls-l, total 0, ls-a. You can see the whole thing. ls. Okay, so we are done. You can find all the sudo system control status. So you can see all the session that is running. Guest slice is running. We are running private. We are running at this. So all the system procedures are running. You can check. You can find all that. can press Control C to exit. So we have closed the connection with our server. We can exit. Now the command prompt is out. Here we have the same server screen. We have the same IP address. You can find everything. You can find this and all that information. So, well, with that, we have exited the server. With that, it comes to the end of the blog. We are going to power off this server and we have powered off the server. So I hope you would have enjoyed this 1 hour session of understanding how it is done and all. If there are some portions where the voice was not visible, I am extremely sorry for that, but that was not the intention. The intention was very much clear to teach how you can install this. And this whole recording I'm going to upload without any edit on YouTube so that you can have it, you can understand it, and you can better see to it that how long the content goes and things. Other contents we will be doing live and then we will be uploading the recordings. So you will always have the recordings available. Thank you very much for watching this. This is Siddharth signing off for now. Hope to see you soon, very soon.